what is up again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sports-O-Mania Plus with yours truly, Marcus. How's everybody doing today here on this hump day? I'm doing good. I got quite a bit to talk about. I'm going to keep it short and sweet today. I'm mainly going to talk football and basketball tonight. Got a couple of games going on right now, but hope everybody's tuning in. While I get everything ready, of course, remember, you can find me on Twitter at MarcusLee337. The Game Breaker Sports Network. It's in the game or in the ring. Follow them on Twitter at GameBreakersNet. And, of course, go on their website, and you can watch the show anytime on demand on Game Breaker Sports Network, also on Facebook as well, or on my YouTube channel. You can check this out. I know the main topic, we're going to be talking college basketball because, you know, college hoops is back with men's and women's around the country. I know they just had the State Farm Champions Classic, which I feel like it's the same four teams every year. I swear to God, these were the same matchups a year ago. We had Michigan State and Kansas in one game. Kansas ended up winning that game 77-69. And Kentucky, after 9 long years, they have finally beaten the Duke Blue Devils. They beat Duke 77-72 down there in Atlanta. So college hoops is back. That's 4 big powerhouses right there. 4 names you could possibly see in the Final Four down in the future. So with college basketball, that's going to be back in the talk. I'm not going to do it like how I really talk with college football and everything. I might focus on like top 25 teams only. Might update the rankings, the top 25 for both men and women's. I might keep up with how LSU's doing because, you know, I do follow LSU even if they're not in the top 25. So I know like the rankings as of this week, it's November 13th today. The top 7 are undefeated teams, whatnot. I know Kansas is still at 1, Alabama's 2, UConn 3, Gonzaga 4, Auburn 5, 6 Duke, 7 Iowa State, 8 Houston, 9 Arizona, 10 North Carolina, 11 Tennessee, 12 Baylor, 13 Purdue, 14 Creighton, 15 Marquette, 16 Indiana, 17 Cincinnati, 18 Arkansas, 19 Kentucky, 20 Florida, 21 Ohio State, 22 St. John's, 23 Texas A&M, 24 Rutgers, and 25 Ole Miss. So I'll update the rankings each week. Might do a couple of predictions. I know when we get to the conference games coming into like January and whatnot, we're definitely going to make predictions for those weeks. I might mainly focus on the top 25. And I think the next time we're going to have some top 25 matchups will probably be this weekend. I see a couple on here. Nothing really big right now that I want to predict, except maybe like a couple of games we do have. I see 2 matchups on Friday that'll feature 2 top 25 teams. Alabama goes to Purdue, battle of unbeatens. I would love to see Purdue upset Alabama there. We got Ohio State and Texas A&M playing in College Station on Friday. Possibly I could see maybe like Ohio State win that one. That's probably like the only big matchups in the top 25 this weekend for college basketball for the men's side. Now on the women's side, they will play some games usually all weekend. Let's see anything big we got coming up. Here's their top 25, by the way. We got number 1 through 12. It's all undefeated teams. Number 1, South Carolina, 2 UConn, 3 USC, 4 Texas, 5 UCLA, 6 Notre Dame, 7 LSU, 8 Iowa State, 9 Oklahoma, 10 Kansas State, 11 Maryland, 12 Ohio State, 13 NC State, 14 North Carolina, 15 West Virginia, 16 Duke, 17 Baylor, 18 Louisville, 19 Ole Miss, 20 Kentucky, 21 Nebraska, 22 Alabama, 23 Illinois, 24 Stanford, and 25 Oregon. That's of right now. Couple of good showdowns we could see this weekend in the top 25 for women's basketball. We got North Carolina hosting UConn on Friday, November 15th. That should be a big matchup. If I had to pick a winner here, I'll say UConn. And then let's see what else we got. Saturday, a rivalry game. Louisville versus Kentucky, 18 versus 20. I'll probably take Kentucky in that one. And then Sunday, there's a slate of games, but really nothing big here. But like I said, when we get to the conference games, that's when we're going to start predicting more games for college basketball. But as of right now, I'm mainly only going to focus on top 25 matchups. until we get to conference play. I can tell you good news for LSU. Both men's and women's basketball teams are undefeated. LSU boys are 2-0. They started off their season with a win, 95-60 over UL Monroe at the PMAC, and then another game at the PMAC. They won 74-61 over Alabama State. Their first road trip of the season. It's not even in the SEC Big 12 Challenge yet. Well, they head to Manhattan, Kansas. They go on the road to take on an undefeated Kansas State team. Both teams are 2-0. This game will be live at 8 p.m. on ESPN+. Hoping LSU can pull this one off. And then after that, they only got 3 games left in the month of November. They're going to be back at home on November 19th against Charleston Southern. Should be an easy win there. Friday, November 22nd, they take on Pitt in the Green Brier Tip-Off Mountain Division. This will actually be played in West Virginia, a neutral site. And then they'll be back at the PMAC on November 29th as they will host the Demons of Northwestern State. That's the remaining games this month for LSU boys. You know, LSU girls are now 3-0. They just played a game the other day. They won yesterday, 117-44 over Charleston Southern. But they opened up the season 95-44 win over Eastern Kentucky, and then last Friday they won 95-36 over Northwestern State. They also have 4 games left this month. They host Murray State this Friday at 7. Next Monday, November 18th, they're at home again against Troy. Remember, that's 6 consecutive home games at the PMAC. And then they host Tulane Wednesday, November 20th at the PMAC. They will hit the road for their final road game. They head to the Bahamas to take on Washington in the Baja Mar Pink Flamingo Championship the week of Thanksgiving on November 25th. So that's all we got for college basketball talk for right now. It's a nice little way to start off talking college basketball till we get to the national championships in April. Meanwhile, the NBA, I know yesterday they just started the first group play of the NBA Cup. Here were some of the results on November 12th. Hawks beat the Celtics 117-116. Pistons beat the Heat 123-121 in overtime. The Magic beat the Hornets 114-89. Knicks beat the Sixers 111-99. Bucks beat the Raptors 99-85. Suns beat the Jazz 120-112. Warriors beat the Mavericks 120-117. And the Trailblazers beat the Timberwolves 122-108. They go back into group play this Friday, November 15th. We got the Clippers at the Rockets. By the way, they're playing right now in a regular season matchup. Nuggets at the Pelicans. Heat at the Pacers. Matter of fact, I'm going to just predict these here. How about that? So next group play is Friday, November 15th. I got the Rockets beating the Clippers. The Pelicans, I got a lot to say about them. Would love to see them pull it off, but I got the Nuggets beating the Pelicans on Friday. I got the Heat over the Pacers. I got the Magic over the Sixers. Pistons over the Raptors. Hawks over the Wizards. The Cavs are 13-0. They're one of, I think, if I'm correct, they might be the only undefeated team left in the NBA right now. Cavs are hot, but I got them winning their group play on Friday. They host the Chicago Bulls. I got the Cavs winning that one. Rivalry game here. Nets, Knicks. Give me the Knicks. Lakers, Spurs. I'm going to have to pick the Lakers over the Spurs. Thunder over the Suns. Warriors over the Grizzlies, and the Kings over the Timberwolves in group play. That one. Then they will go back into group play again on Tuesday, November 19th, before next week's show. And then the Pelicans, Mavericks. I'm going to pick the Pelicans in this one. Hopefully they can find a way to win. I ain't going to be able to pick them against them every time, even though I'm rocking them tonight. I got the Pelicans hopefully win that second game of group play. I got them over the Mavericks. Cavs over the Celtics, Nets over the Hornets, Nuggets over the Grizzlies, Thunder over the Spurs, and the Lakers over the Jazz. And we'll recap those group plays on next week's show. So I think it's every Tuesday and Friday they're going to do group play matchups. So that's how that will go. All right, so NBA basketball talk. The only thing I left, I know the Pelicans. They're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. So in their last few games, so since last week's show, they have played 4 games. That's not including, actually, make it 5. They've lost all 5 of those games. They haven't won a game since November 1st against the Pacers. They're now on a 6-game losing streak. Since last episode, they lost to the Cavs 131-122. A couple of highlights in this one I'm going to pop up. A couple of game leaders. Zion Williamson led in points. He had 29 points. He went 9 for 18 in field goals and 11 out of 13 in free throws. He also led in rebounds with 8. He had 6 on defense and 2 on offense. And Jose Alvarado led in assists. He had 5 total assists and 1 turnover in 35 minutes of play. Go back to last Friday's game. Their loss to the Magic, 115-88. Brandon Boston Jr. led in points for the New Orleans Pelicans. He had 26 points. He went 10 for 17 in field goals, and he went 4 for 4 in free throws. He also led in rebounds. He had a total of 6 on defense. And Jose Alvarado led in assists. He had 5 assists and 3 turnovers in 35 minutes of play. And then last Monday, they had a nail-biter with the Brooklyn Nets. Nets got the win 107-105 against the Pelicans. Brandon Ingram led in points with 24. He went 10 for 24 in field goals, and he went 2 for 2 in free throws. Yves Missy led in rebounds. He had 11 total, 8 on defense and 3 on offense. And in assists, Brandon Boston Jr. had a total of 10 assists and 1 turnover in 35 minutes of play. They just recently fell 106-88 on the road against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Prime time. By the way, what's going on, Jordan? This was not their perfect game. They had a hot start, and then they kind of blew it. Brandon Ingram, though, 18 points in this one, 17 for 18 in field goals, no free throws. Yves Missy led in rebounds. He had 10 total, 6 on defense and 4 on offense. And Brandon Ingram led in assists. He had 6 total with 8 turnovers and 35 minutes of play. So it's not looking good for the New Orleans Pelicans. And what they got next for the next couple days, let's see, they go into group play twice. They got the Nuggets, I said, and the Mavericks. Saturday, they host the Lakers. And then when I come back on the show next Wednesday, they're going to have a road trip against the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers like I did on my last episode. So in between that timeline, can we see the New Orleans Pelicans get a win? They need one more than ever. I can possibly see them maybe getting one. I said possibly against the Dallas Mavericks. I don't see them beating the Thunder. I definitely don't see them beating the Cavaliers, and maybe the Lakers could be a toss-up. But they got to get a win here. They can't just keep this losing streak going. Mavericks, I think, could be the one they can pull off. On the side, the Houston Rockets, they just beat the Clippers just now. Well, since our last episode, they've been on quite a bit of a win streak. In their last 5 games, they won 4 out of 5. Last Wednesday, they got that big 127-100 victory over the San Antonio Spurs. Fred VanVleet led in points. He had 21, 10 for 11 in field goals, no free throws. He also led in rebounds. He had 7 on defense and also led in assists with 10 and 3 turnovers in 25 minutes of play. Last Friday, their only loss, they fell 126-107 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dylan Brooks led in points with 17. He went 6 for 12 in field goals, 2 for 2 in free throws. Alperen Sengun led in rebounds. He had 9 total, 5 on defense and 4 on offense. And he also led in assists with 6 and 2 turnovers in 27 minutes of play. Then on Sunday, they went on the road, got a nail-biter win, 101-99 over the Detroit Pistons. Sengun led in points in that one, 27 total points against the Pistons. He went 11 for 17 in field goals, 5 for 7 in free throws. He also led in rebounds. He had 10 total, 7 on defense, 3 on offense. And he led in assists with 7 and 1 turnover in 37 minutes of play. They were back at home this past Monday. They won 107-92 over the Wizards. Sengun led in points in that one with 27, 12 for 19 in field goals and 2 free throws. Led in rebounds and assists. He led there the whole game. 17 rebounds, 10 on off defense, 7 on offense, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, all in 31 minutes of play. And then tonight, they just beat the Clippers 111-103. They will play again in group play this Friday. My boy Jalen Green led in points, 21 total, 7 for 21 in field goals. He went 2 for 3 in free throws. James Harden, the former Rocket, returned back to Houston. He had not a bad night for himself, 19 total points. He went 6 for 15 in field goals, 4 out of 5 free throws. Amen Thompson led in rebounds. He had 11 total, 5 on defense, 6 on offense. And Shageen led in assists with 6 and 4 turnovers in 30 minutes of play. So not a bad start for the not a bad week for the Rockets. Like I said, they will be back again with the Clippers this Friday in group play, and then they'll be hitting the road for the next 2 games after that. They go to Chicago to play the Bulls on Sunday, and then Monday night they're in Milwaukee taking on the Bucks. They'll be back at home next Wednesday as they host the Pacers, and then they'll go back into group play with the Portland Trailblazers after that. So that's about all the NBA talk I got. So now we can, that's all the basketball talk I actually have on for this show. Now we're going to get into some football talk. Sorry, sending a selfie here. So I'm going to just get it out of the way. You know the week I've had. We're going to start with college football real quick. Let's just get this shit out of the way. LSU, you guys pissed me the fuck off this past weekend. You fell 42-13 to Alabama. You're now 6-3 overall. You're 3-2 in the SEC. You still, if you can bust your ass to play your ass off the rest of the season, you might have a chance to make the SEC championship. But that's the only way you could probably get back in this playoff picture, because as of right now, you're out of the college football playoffs. And good God, Garrett Nussmeier, I don't even know why he's even considered playing next game. 27 for 42, 239 passing yards, 1 touchdown pass, 2 interceptions. I turned that game off after the second interception. They had this game. They had all the hype to win this game. They were hyped at game day. We were favored to win. Nick Saban was the only one that picked Alabama to win the game. Everybody else on the panel, I'm even shocked McAfee picked LSU. Made us look like shit. Caden Durham led in rushing, 8 carries for 63 yards. Not good enough. Kyron Lacey led in receiving, 5 receptions for 79 yards. He did get a touchdown at the end of the game. Our defense, though, numbers are not good. 75 total tackles, 31 solo, and 3 tackles for a loss. But it was Jalen Milroe who balled the fuck out in this game. He made our secondary look embarrassing. He's my impact player of the week, unfortunately. Jalen Milroe against LSU. He went 12 for 18, 109 passing yards. He also led in rushing, 12 carries for 185 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns against our shit defense. They better fix something when we get to Florida this Saturday. Other players in my impact players this week. Ashton Genie, who's still my favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. He had a hell of a game this past weekend. 34 carries, 209 yards, and 3 total touchdowns in his game. Who'd they beat? Oh, they beat Nevada 28-21, by the way. Will Howard, the Ohio State quarterback. They decimated Purdue this past weekend. By the way, let me get these numbers up. Fuck, I even got to present the NBA leaders and whatnot. I'll get to that in a bit. Will Howard's my third impact player. Their big Ohio State had a big win this past week. I think it was Purdue. They beat them. They shut them out 45-0. Will Howard went 21 for 26, 260 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Jackson Dart, Ole Miss QB, the next impact player. We'll talk about that upset. 13 for 22, 199 passing yards and 1 touchdown pass. He also led in rushing, 8 carries for 50 yards. And then my final impact player of the week, Texas' own Quinn Ewers, in their win over Florida. By the way, beat Florida 49-17. He went 19 for 27, 333 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. So that's my 5 impact players for that before I get to any more college football talk, let me just get the stat leaders, my stat facts out the way for the NBA, since I forgot to mention this. These are about the same. Offensive leaders. Sorry about now. Offensive leaders. At 4, Jason Tatum and Nikola Jokic are tied at 29.7 points this season. Third is LaMelo Ball at 29.9, and Giannis with 30.7 at second. And in first place, leading in points, Anthony Davis at 31.2. Your top 5 leaders in assists at 5. As of right now, LeBron James is at 5 with 8.9 assists. James Harden at 4th with 9. Ja Morant 3rd at 9.1. Trae Young in 2nd with 11.5. And Jokic leads in assists with 11.6 assists, 0.7 this season. Your leaders in three-pointers as of right now. At number 5, we got Jason Tatum with 4.1. At 4, we got Norman Powell of the Clippers at 4.2. Third, Tyler Herro of the Miami Heat at 4.6. LaMelo Ball in 2nd at 4.9. And Anthony Edwards for the Timberwolves at 5.3. And then your defensive leaders in rebounds. At number 5, we got Giannis at 11.9. Karl Anthony Towns for the Knicks at 12.4. Ivica Zubac for the Clippers at 12.8. And Domantas Sabonis for the Kings at 12.8. And leading in rebounds is Nikola Jokic at 13.7. Your leaders in blocks. At number 5, we got Brook Lopez of the Bucks at 2.2. Alexandre Sarr for the Wizards at 2.4. Chet Holmgren for the Thunder at 2.6. Walker Kessler for the Jazz at 2.8. And leading in blocks is Victor Wembanyama for the Spurs at 3.9. And then finally, your top 5 leaders in steals this season. At number 5, Steph Curry at 1.8. Jalen Williams for the Thunder at 1.9. And Tari Eason for the Rockets at 1.9. In second, Jordan Poole for the Wizards at 2.3. And leading in steals this week, Dyson Daniels for the Hawks at 3.6. All right, now we can close out the NBA talk. Now let's look at our stat facts for college football this week, your stat leaders. In offense and passing, here's your top 5. Number 5, North Texas's own Chandler Morris at 3,087. At number 4, Kyle McCord from Syracuse at 3,153. At 3rd, Josh Hoover from TCU at 3,233. At number 2, Ole Miss's Jackson Dart at 3,409. And at number 1, Miami's Cam Ward at 3,494 yards this season. Top 5 leaders in rushing this season. At number 5, Taj Brooks from Texas Tech with a total of 1,184 yards. At number 4, Mekhi Hughes of Tulane at 1,209 yards. Tie for second place, Caleb Johnson from Iowa and R.G. Harvey from UCF are at 1,328 yards. And your top rushing leader in rushing this season, Ashton Jenney from Boise State, now sits at 1,734 total rushing yards this season. Your top 5 leaders in receiving this week. As of right now, number 5, Jack Besh from TCU at 982 receiving yards. Number 4, Trey Harris from Ole Miss at 987 receiving yards. Number 3, Tetarora McMillan from Arizona at 1,066 yards. Number 2, Nick Nash from San Jose State at 1,156 yards. And leading in receiving, Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green State at 1,170 receiving yards. Defensive leaders. In tackles, your top 5, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech with a total of 100 tackles this season. At number 4, Isaac Smith from Mississippi State at 101. At number 3, Travion Barnes from FIU at 109. Number 2, Red Murdoch from Buffalo at 126. And leading in tackles this season in college football at number 1 is Sean Dolak from Buffalo at 137 total tackles. Your top 5 leaders in sacks this season. At number 5, we have Suntarine Perkins from Ole Miss with 10 sacks. Number 4, Donovan Iziraku from Boston College with 11. Number 3, Trey White from San Diego State with 11.5. And at number 1, we're tied with Mike Green from Marshall and Antoine Powell-Ryland from Virginia Tech with 13 sacks this season. And your top 5 leaders in interceptions. At number 5, Kobe Bryant from Kansas with 4. A three-way tie for second place with Coy Parrish from Minnesota, Terrence Spence from James Madison, and Cam Lockridge from Fresno State with 5 interceptions. And leading with interceptions this season is Noel Williams from Cal with 7. A couple other news updates we'll talk before we get to some college football predictions. First off, we got 4 teams that are still undefeated in college football. We're down to the Final 4. Oregon, Indiana, Army, and BYU are all still undefeated. Oregon and Indiana are both sitting, I think, at 10-0, while Army and BYU are sitting at 9-0. We did see a couple upsets. First, Georgia Tech upsets Miami, a big shocker. And then Ole Miss upsetting Georgia, which Ole Miss did get a heavy fine. LSU did, by the way. Ole Miss was fined $350,000 for rushing the field with 16 seconds left before the game was completely over. LSU even got a $250,000 fine for pulling a Texas and a Clemson, throwing trash on the field. On a penalty, you saw the fucking face mask clearly. You're some arrogant motherfuckers. Like, I'm embarrassed being an LSU fan for the shit you guys fucking did. Like, and it was uncalled for. I can understand if you want to throw trash on the field after a loss to Alabama, which you shouldn't be throwing trash on the field to begin with. But you clearly saw the fucking face mask penalty. They showed it in the replay. But it's those fucking fraternity birds. I cannot stand fraternities. I fucking hate them all. If you're in a frat, fuck you, you alcoholic rich motherfucker. Think you can outdrink anybody from the table. Fuck all fraternities. They're all a bunch of douchebags. All right, well, let's get to some college football picks before we get to some NFL talk. I only put a short amount of games this week because there's really not a lot of big games this week. So we'll start with a team in the state. We'll start with Tulane. Tulane's been on a hot streak now. I think they've won 7 or 8 in a row. They've won 7 in a row this season. Big challenge for them. They go on the road to play Navy. This series is actually 12-12-1 against each other. Navy did win the last 2, but you know what? I'm rolling with the wave. Tulane's a very good team. I'm sticking with Tulane to beat midshipmen, but they are playing at the Naval Academy, so it's going to be a tough environment. We get an old classic rivalry, Texas at Arkansas. Texas is 56-23 versus the Razorbacks. Arkansas won the last 2, but I'm going to go with Texas over Arkansas in this one. Clemson and Pitt. We keep this one short. This one was kind of a toss-up, but I'm going to pick Clemson on the road in a nail-biter. I think they win this one closely. We get Rumble in the Rockies here. We get Utah and at Colorado. Utah is 35-32-3 against the Buffaloes. Utah won the last 7 meetings, but Colorado's kind of finally finding that spark back. So I'm going to go with Coach Prime and the Buffaloes. Give me Colorado. Despite their last 2 games, LSU is on the road. Last road game of the regular season. They go to Florida. They've won the last 5. Make it 6 in a row. This Florida team is trash. Give me LSU big on the road against Florida. Baylor and West Virginia, another toss-up. This was the 13th total meeting. But here's the crazy part. Baylor has never beaten West Virginia in Morgantown until this Saturday. I think this will be the first time ever. So I'm going with Baylor on the road, beating West Virginia in Morgantown for the first time. Missouri and South Carolina. Missouri won the last 5. This one was another toss-up, but make it 6 in a row. Give me Missouri. Arizona State and Kansas State. I don't have much to say on this one. I remember Arizona State had a comeback last game. So I'm going to pick Arizona State on the road here. Boise State and San Jose State. Do Ashton Ginny all the way. I hope he wins that Heisman. I got Boise State on the road. And then finally, our game of the week, College Game Day, is heading to Athens. We get Tennessee and Georgia. A little SEC East rivalry. Georgia is 28-23-2 versus Tennessee. Georgia's won the last 7. I would love for Tennessee to pull this off to try and keep Alabama out of going to Atlanta. But I feel like whoever wins this game is basically going to go to Atlanta and most likely play Texas in the SEC championship. So I got Georgia winning a close game at home against Tennessee. It's going to be a hell of a game. But I want to share this really quick before we get to the NFL talk. The college football, the experts finally made their first college football playoff prediction since they've been going into conference play. So as of right now, I want your take on this. Remember how the rules are going to go. The top 4 will go to the 4 highest ranked conference champions. And the 5th will go to that like alternative conference champion out of like the MAC or, like MAC or Mountain West, American Athletics, Sun Belt. Whichever one is that highest seed is going to get that 12th seed. And then all the others are just going to go by records and whatnot. So this is what they predicted as of right now. They have at number 1 going in is Oregon. Oregon would win the Big Ten and go in at number 1. They have Texas winning the SEC going at number 2. They have BYU winning the Big 12 going at number 3. And Miami winning the ACC going in at number 4. And that 12th seed would go to Boise State, who would win the Mountain West and be the highest ranked non-Power 4 or Big 4 conference champion. So they're predicting Boise State to play Ohio State in a playoff game where the winner would take on Miami. Then they have Notre Dame at number 9 to play number 8 Tennessee, where the winner would play Oregon. Ole Miss at 11 playing number 6 Penn State, and the winner would play BYU. And finally, Alabama at number 10 playing Indiana at number 7, and the winner of that game would play Texas. That don't sound too bad. But if you look at their like official rankings, they have 4 Big Ten teams in the top 5. Oregon, Ohio State, that's 2. Texas at 3, Penn State at 4, and Indiana at 5. They thought this was a whole fucking circus, having all those Big Ten teams in the top 5 trying to out-top the SEC. But they do have some good teams this year. I mean, next week I think is going to determine who could play Oregon in the Big Ten championship. Indiana and Ohio State will meet each other next week in Columbus. It's going to be a top 5 matchup. I feel like whoever wins that game will go to play Oregon in the Big Ten championship. I would love nothing more for it to be Indiana, but we'll see what happens when we get to next week. All right. We're going to some NFL talk, and for the first time since week 2, I'm not even going to have to talk shit about the New Orleans Saints. They started cleaning house. Remember, after last week, they got rid of Dennis Allen. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold here. Rizzi's the interim head coach. In his first game as interim head coach, Saints get a win over their rivals. 20-17 over the Atlanta Falcons. Saints drop a 7-game losing streak. They're now 3-7 of the season. Derek Carr went 16 for 25, 269 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara led in rushing for 17 carries for 55 yards. And a name you haven't really heard this season yet, Marquez Valdez-Scantling led in receiving, 3 receptions, 109 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. He scored his first touchdown in this game as a New Orleans Saint. Because remember at the beginning of the season, he started off the season with the Buffalo Bills. And then about a few weeks later, he was traded to the New Orleans Saints, the former 2-time Super Bowl champion for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Blake Grupe had 2 field goals. He one for 38 yards and 1 for 26. Defense looked good, 81 total tackles, 45 solo, 3 sacks, and 6 tackles for a loss against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm proud of them. I'm hoping they can keep this going because Saints are officially in that rebuilding mode now, but I didn't expect. I even predicted them to lose to the Falcons, to be honest with you, but I'll probably never pick that again. Yep, definitely coach of the year, folks. All right, let's do a couple of rants here. All right, go back to Thursday night. Ravens beat the Bengals in a fucking classic. Sorry. I got a tickle. Oh, shit. I'm going to have to slow down my rant here. God, I hope my voice don't get fucking hoarse for this. Apologies for the health issues. Ravens beat the Bengals in a fucking nail-biter, 35-34. Joe Burrow had a hell of a night, though. He went 34 for 56, 428 yards and 4 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson went 25 for 33, 290 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry balled out. He led in rushing, 16 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown, where Jamar Chase had 11 receptions for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bengals had that game in the bag. They even blew a lead. But I said, Joe Burrow still don't have no protection. From a shit game to a good game, this one actually wasn't that bad in Germany. Panthers pull it off 20-17 in Germany. I don't have much to say about that one. Patriots pulled the Bears out 19-3. Drake May went 15 for 25, 184 yards and 1 rushing touchdown, while Caleb Williams went 16 for 30 and 120 yards. And you want that pink fingernail paint motherfucker as your rookie of the year? Get out of here. Jane Daniels got that one locked in big time. And for that Patriots win, you could say the New York Giants securely locked in that number 1 pick of the 2025 NFL draft. The Buffalo Bills win 30-20 over the Colts. Josh Allen went 22 for 37, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kansas City Chiefs got fucking lucky. They almost blew it to the Denver Broncos, but with ref helps, luck of a blocked field goal, Chiefs are now 9-0, 16-14 win over the Denver Broncos. Patrick Mahomes, 28 for 42, 266 yards and 1 touchdown, while Bo Nix went 22 for 30, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns in that one. Hell, I'm not even going to shit talk Kirk Cousins. Even though we got that win, Kirk Cousins went 23 for 38, 306 passing yards and 1 interception. 49ers win 23-20 over Tampa Bay. Steelers and the Commanders. Another 1-point loss to an LSU starting QB in the NFL. Jane Daniels went 17 for 34 and 202 yards, while Russell Wilson went 14 for 28, 195 yards, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. George Pickens, 5 receptions, 91 yards and 1 touchdown in that game as well. Vikings beat the Jaguars 12-7. Chargers beat the Titans 27-17. Justin Herbert went 14 for 18, 164 yards and 1 touchdown, and he led in rushing, 9 carries for 32 yards and 1 rushing touchdown against the Tennessee Titans. The Philadelphia Eagles embarrassed the Dallas Cowboys 34-6. The Cowboys are still winless at home. Let's see here. Jalen Hurts went 14 for 20, 202 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, while Cooper Rush, in only 3 quarters, went 13 for 23 and 45 yards. That's got to be the worst set of numbers I ever saw. Arizona Cardinals take down the Jets 31-6. Sunday Night Football, this was a good game. Lions did get the win, 26-23 over the Houston Texans. Jared Goff went 15 for 30, 240 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Jamar Gibbs led in rushing, 19 carries for 71 yards. By the way, the Houston Texans, they looked fucking good with that battle red. I'm going to show it again, folks. They looked fucking awesome with this attire. I think they're going to wear it again on Christmas Day against the Ravens. Not 100% sure. CJ Stroud went 19 for 33, 232 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions in that game. Joe Mixon led in rushing, 25 carries for 46 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. And John Mechie III led in receiving, 5 receptions for 74 yards and 1 touchdown catch. But didn't get the job done. Monday Night Football, Tua and the Dolphins trying to make an impact. Tyreek Hill had a key catch to get them to hold off the Rams, 23-15. Tua went 20 for 28, 207 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception against the LA Rams. All right, real quick, NFL stat facts before we get to some NFL predictions, and then I'm going to wrap the show up, maybe take some meds here. All right, your offensive leaders in passing, here's your top 5. Baker Mayfield with 2,505 passing yards this season. At number 4, Geno Smith with 2,560. Kirk Cousins at 3 with 2,364 passing yards. Lamar Jackson second with 2,669 passing yards. And leading in passing this season, Joe Burrow with 2,672 passing yards this week. Your leaders in rushing this season for this week. Number 5, Bijan Robinson with 748 total rushing yards. Number 4, Josh Jacobs for the Packers at 762 yards. Number 3, Chuba Hubbard for the Panthers, 818 yards this season. Number 2, Saquon Barkley at 991 rushing yards. And leading in rushing this season, Derrick Henry at 1,120 total rushing yards. Your top 5 leaders in receiving for this week. And number 5, Zay Flowers at 668 receiving yards. Number 4, Garrett Wilson at 704. Number 3, Trey McLaurin at 711. Number 2, Justin Jefferson with 831. And leading in receiving so far this season, Jamar Chase with a total of 981 receiving yards. Your defensive leaders, your leaders in tackles. 4th place is a tie with Jamian Sherwood of the Jets and Roquan Smith of the Ravens with 97 total tackles. Nick Cross for the Colts with 98. Buda Baker with the Cardinals at 100 tackles. And leading in tackles this season is Zaire Franklin for the Colts with 105 total tackles. Your top 5 sack leaders for the season. At number 5, Aiden Hutchinson at 7.5. Will McDonald IV for the Jets at 8. Dante Fowler Jr. for the Commanders at 8.5. Dexter Lawrence II for the Giants at 9. And leading in sacks this season, Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals with 11 total sacks. And finally, your top 5 leaders in interceptions. We got a 3-way tie for 3rd place. Jalen McCullough of the Rams, Byron Murphy Jr. of the Vikings, and Marlon Humphrey of the Ravens with a total of 4 interceptions this season. And we got a tie with the leaders of interceptions this season, Kirby Joseph of the Lions and Xavier McKinney of the Packers. A total of 6 interceptions this season. And now we can get to our NFL picks to wrap this up, because I'm not feeling it right now. But I got a feeling this is going to be an exciting week. We got a lot of great, exciting NFL games this week going into Week 11. Thursday Night Football, we get a division matchup. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders taking on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. You know I'm riding with that kid, Jaden. Give me the Commanders. Still my pick to win the NFC East. Saints are back in the Dome. Second of 3 in a row in the Dome. They're going to host the Cleveland Browns. And Jameis Winston, I think he's starting for the Cleveland Browns. So he's back in New Orleans. But the Saints, this is a new type of Saints. They don't have Dennis Allen no more. Rizzy's on fire. I like him as the interim coach, but I mean, we need to get a real head coach in the offseason. Let Rizzy finish the season out. I got them winning at home. I'm back on the Saints winning again. I think they're going to win 2 in a row again. They're going to get their 4th win. So I got the Saints at home over the Browns. Ravens, Steelers, division rivalry should be a good one. Lamar Jackson could be the MVP of this season. Give me the Ravens on the road against the Steelers. Jags and the Lions. I don't know what this one. I got the Lions. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Said I was putting the Jags. No. I got the Lions. Lions at home against the Jags. Rams at the Patriots. Patriots. Almost nominated this as a toilet bowl of the week, but no. But I got the Patriots winning at home. Colts at the Jets. Another game I almost nominated for toilet bowl of the week, but I'm gonna pull. I think this is an upset. I got the Jets winning in an upset at home over the Colts. Vikings and the Titans. That's an easy pick. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold and company. This is my toilet bowl of the week. Raiders at the Dolphins. So Tua's back. Dolphins are picking back up. Give me the Dolphins at home. Packers and the Bears. You got to love this. The oldest rivalry in the NFL. Chicago Bears is shit. Caleb Williams is trash. I got the Packers winning big on the road in Chicago. Falcons at the Broncos. This was kind of a toss-up with my hatred for the Falcons versus the Broncos needing an important win. But something tells me the Falcons are going to pull this off on the road. You know they're red hot in that after their loss to the Saints last week. So I got the Falcons winning on the road at the Broncos. We get another big division rivalry here. Seahawks and the 49ers. Something tells me the 49ers are going to pull this off at home. Plus, I need to win this week in fantasy, so I'm going to need George Kittle and Deebo Samuel to help me get a shitload of points. So I got the 49ers winning at home. This is my game of the week, and this could determine if the Chiefs can go undefeated, a perfect regular season record. Chiefs at the Bills. I know a lot of people are going to be rooting for Buffalo. I know Vegas is going to make sure the Chiefs win because, you know, everybody's going to bet on Buffalo to upset the Chiefs. But I think the Chiefs are going to go 10-0. They're doing whatever they can to make Mahomes the greatest and be on that Tom Brady level. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Just don't show Taylor Swift on TV and don't give the ball to Travis Kelce. But if you're trying to make Mahomes greatness, then so be it. I'm on the road. I'm down with that. So I got the Chiefs winning. He's going to beat Josh Allen in the regular season. Chiefs win and go 10-0. Sunday Night Football. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals taking on Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. They really need this win. I'm picking the Bengals. Joe Burrow needs this win so bad. Try and keep his hopes alive. And then Monday Night Football, we get a Lone Star Showdown. CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans taking on Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys because, you know, Dak Prescott's out for the rest of the season. The Texans are not happy after that loss to the Lions. They're going to wipe the fucking floor with the Dallas Cowboys. Plus, it's in Dallas. Dallas cannot win at home. They'll be lucky if they ever win a home game this year. I said I would give them a Thanksgiving win against the Giants if they can play their ass off, but I don't know if they can. They're definitely not winning this one. I got Houston big Monday night against the Cowboys. I cannot wait to see them beat the shit out of Dallas, and I can talk shit about it. Well, that will wrap up this week's edition of Sports-O-Mania Plus. Sorry if my voice is getting a little low and I've been coughing, but there's something going around. I'm hoping I'm not getting sick. But I'm going to take care of myself. That way, when next week comes, I can be back 100% and ready to go. What if I'm talking about Sports-O-Mania Plus or the World Elite Podcast? But thank you guys for tuning in. Again, you can find me on Twitter at MarcusElite337. Follow Game Breaker Sports Network on Facebook, or follow them on Twitter at GameBreakersNet. Go to their website and check out all our content. And you can go on my YouTube channel to watch this show anytime on demand or on Facebook. But thank y'all again for tuning in. Y'all stay safe. Try not to get sick like I'm probably fixing to get. And y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week.